Yo, what is going on, guys? We are going to be doing a coaching for a silver Nasus top lane. This is going to be a quick one. So anyways, this player plays mostly top lane and AD carry. I wouldn't really recommend Nasus unless you know what you're playing him into. He has a lot of hard matchups against any range champion. Generally, you want to go for the Dorn's Shield Star or triple regen bead with one potion. Also, if you want to look to hard carry on Nasus, Fleet is not the keystone. This is just for getting by. You're going to have a lot of issues even soloing the Renekton once you're level 6. Level 6 on Nasus, you can solo pretty much every champion in the game. At least who's melee, because once they're on you, you pop your R. Your R is doing as much damage as 2 Sunfires. And you have the reduced cooldown on your Q. So let me hide the chat real quick. So right off the bat, I'd say I hate your keystone. I would say the only 3 keystones you should really look to take on Nasus, and in my opinion the only 2, is Unsealed Spellbook, which is what the vast majority of good Nasus players use, or Conqueror, which is what Chad Nasus players use. Conqueror allows you for those level 6 and upward fights, which just let you snowball the game. Against their team, honestly, the Nasus pick isn't bad, but you are going to need tenacity. Hopefully you took some tenacity in your runes, and you're going to be looking to get some Merc Treads as well. They have a lot of CC, double Mumu stun, Renekton stun, Heimer stun, Ahri taunt, Morgana snare, Morgana stun. Literally all of them have at least one hard form of CC, which Tenacity works against. Tenacity does not work against displacements like knockups, knockbacks, or suppressions. So Tenacity, just stack as much of it as you can, man. I would make sure you're taking Tenacity in your runes. Your secondary runes, you can take a lot of different things on Nasus. Just depends on the matchup. Going for bone plating's fine. Going second wind's fine if they're ranged. There's no sound. What the hell? Okay, I have it muted. Alright. I still can't hear it. Okay, there we go. I can hear now. There we go. Let me turn that down a little bit. It's a little too loud. Turn off the music volume. Music's useless. All right. So first things first. In any matchup on Nasus, you don't necessarily want to be shoving the wave, especially if you don't beat them in a raw fight. Typically, if you're going to be starting Dorn's Ring on Nasus, it's because you want to be turbo shoving the waves. So you might even look to start E here, or if you do get here first, starting Q is fine. So in this case, you got here really early. Just start mashing down the minions then. Not a huge fan of the Dorn Ring start. I would highly recommend going for the D shield or triple regen bead in the range matchups. The Dorn's Ring is more for just kind of pushing and cheesing. It's going to be really hard to do that against a champion who has heavy sustain like Warwick top or Renekton top. They have a lot of self heals, especially off their Qs, to where, I mean, even if you're pounding it with every E you have, even if you had Arcane Comment or Airy, you're just not going to push him out of lane. So not a huge fan of the D ring. You bop him with a Q. Since you have Fleet, this isn't a very impactful trade. If you went for Grasp or Conqueror, it would be a bit better in my opinion. Since you have one more range creep, trading here isn't bad, especially while his Q's on a cooldown. That's fine. I would keep playing with your minion advantage. You only need 2 more minions to get level 2. All you gotta do is kill this one and get 1 more. So basically, as long as you're willing to eat his next Q, you can just push up here. You trade off your Q. Once again, if you had Grasp, he would be way lower. If you want to play Nasty, this type of scrappy, you might even consider going Flash Ghost like Psychopathic Top does. He is a multi-account challenger and a Nasus top. Flash Ghost is how he plays it with Conk. From watching you play, you're playing so aggressive. Like outrageously aggressive, dude. Just non-stop. Every time your Q's up, you're trading off with them. To where I don't really understand why the necessarily the Dorn Ring start. And I don't understand the Fleet either for this. Like, Fleet is a super beta keystone. You're taking that if you're like really worried about the lane. Like if you don't understand the Vayne or the Teemo matchup, like that's what you're going to be taking. Because this is not going to help you kill him. You hit level 2 first. Generally, you're going to get your E and then get 2 points in your Q. You're going to get your W typically at level 4. And then obviously go for the Q max. Getting extra points in your Q is a big deal. You have minion advantage here. There's no reason not to step up unless you're worried about the enemy jungler. With a full clear jungler like a Mumu. Hold on, let me turn on Fog of War. real quick. Where's that at? Sheesh. I literally don't see it. There it is. All right. So with full clear junglers like Amumu and Evelynn, they generally gank after a 3-minute 15-second mark. With non-full clear junglers, they'll typically gank you around the 2-minute 50-second mark. So you still have some time before he's going to gank you, to where when you laid your ward, it was just like really, really soon, kind of pointless. And you already know Amumu started top because Renekton got to lane really late and their bot lane got to lane really early. So you already know he started top. He's going to be pathing away. There's no reason to lay this ward. That information, we can play really aggressive since we hit the level 2 first. I would just dump this wave. If he tries to all in you, he can't, even though he has press attack and you have fleet. Because you have these range creeps. Each one's doing 24 damage. 2 together is about a Soraka auto attack. So you have about 2.5 Sorakas here to auto him down with. So I would immediately auto attack. You could have traded off Q. Once you start your Q animation, it goes through, even though it is an auto attack. So you would have auto attack Q'd on his head there, and your Q would have traded off for his stun. But like when you know they're going to hit you for something, don't be afraid to trade back, because now it's kind of too late. Now you hit him with the Q as he's already walking away. And as you can see, the fleet isn't going to be doing you much good. I don't know where you're going now. This is kind of weird. You really want to just dump this wave. You should be pounding out your E's. If you have minion advantage on Nasus, you generally want to crash the wave to reset. You don't want to be perpetually stuck up towards the front of the wave. If you stay in this same spot for the whole lane, you're going to get camped and die. So I mean, at this point, you should really just dump this wave since you have a huge minion advantage. He's not even level 3 yet. You should have been dumping this whole time. It would have pushed him off minions and we would have been taking lots of damage every time your E's up. In this case, if you're going to be playing it with the D ring, I would highly recommend though playing with Conqueror or Unsealed Spellbook instead for your Keystone. It generally plays a lot better. This is just, in my opinion, the wrong runes for this matchup. So then he all-ins you and then you die. Yeah, I mean, that's how Nasus matchups go. If you're going to be pushing up the wave, unless you have an extreme health advantage, you're not going to win the 1v versus 1. Nasus's biggest power spike in the game is pretty much his level 6, or when you have your Divine Sunderer. Like, both of those are like his biggest power spike. So right now you're on no power spike. Renekton gets really huge at level 3. That E's fine. I would just turn... Okay, he flashed. That's actually really good. Nice job. At this point, his wave will be most likely pushing to you, to be honest. I think his wave is going to be, because you see how even though that minion's 1 health, it's still putting out the same damage the rest are. The range creep stack makes a huge diffy. You can go ahead and shove this. I would drop your E. Also, since you didn't have Ignite, that you didn't take Ghost or Ignite, so it's really weird the way you were playing this lane. Like, you were playing as if you did have Ignite, and then you would randomly pull off when you had minion advantage. But yeah, if you're going to play D-Ring Nasus, really every time your E's up, you want to be putting it on top of his minions and him at the same time. Like, that's your goal if you're going to run this build. And now you're stuck. You need to be dropping your E's, dude. If you want to dump the wave because you want to go spend your gold, you need to be using your E like every time it's up, not just when he gets back to lane. Because now, look, you've been like in this same spot for the past 2 minutes. You could have been ganked so many times now. But luckily, Amumu's going mid for some reason. Like, this is weird. He should have just come top already. Like, you're out of mana, and he knows you don't have flash. So now you find out you're using your E's when he's on near his minions, which is good. He lets the wave crash. He should have just grabbed it and not let it crash. Now it's going to reset. You go to back. Definitely pick up the Sheen. That's good. Get the control ward. Looks nice. Could even get a refill if you really wanted to. And I mean, you're really nowhere close to level 6. I would have been fine with you TPing back to lane. He did push pretty slow, so it kind of turned out that this is exactly right. I mean, dude, the way you're playing him, you should just take Conqueror or Grasp into melees, or Conqueror or Unsealed Spellbook just in general. There's really no time Conqueror's bad unless it's a ranged matchup you can never touch, in which case Unsealed Spellbook tends to be a bit better. Because then you can pop like a free Ghost or a free Ignite or Exhaust. It's really good for ganks and just extra mobility. So yeah, you E him immediately when he's on his minions. This is the right move. You hit your Sheen power spike. You take the E, auto attack Q reset trade. And at this point, you'd want to try to freeze. Like, you don't want a hard push. Ideally on Nasus in a perfect world, you're farming about like right here where my cursor is. About right there and no farther, and you have it permanently froze. like right here. And that way you're never at risk of dying to ganks, and you just perma stack. And then if your laner is roaming, you can shove the wave if you want to and crack a turret down, especially once you have your R. You can crack the turrets really fast. So yeah, here that was perfect. I would just try not to touch the wave, especially don't touch the backline creeps. Those are the ones that really set up the freeze for you. I would just focus on killing the melees because they're about to come into the turret anyways. Nice. Pull the melee up. Don't touch these. You just only last hit those. The faster you kill these, the faster your wave pushes out into the lane, which puts you at risk of getting ganked. Which, if a Nasus is ever at the halfway point of the lane, any good jungler is going to gank you. Because you have no mobility. You don't know where Renekton went. You're just kind of pushing the wave for no reason. You're nowhere close to your level 6, to where once you push up this wave, you're going to just put yourself in a weird spot. And you're not even power pushing. You're not using your E or anything. If you want to push, push. If you don't want to, then just like slow push. This is like, I don't know. This is not even quite a slow push because you're auto attacking nonstop there. But you're going to crash about a wave and a half into him. A little over that since there's a cannon. Now, since you have the minion advantage here, you're not going to run away unless you think Amumu's here, which he might be. But if you don't think he is, you're just going to drop an E on his head, auto attack, Q reset. That's going to be your trade combo. E auto attack, Q, your E shreds the armor. Because you have minion advantage. If he takes a prolonged trade, dude, one cannon is like 2 Sorakas because it's attack speed and base AD. And then you have a Soraka and a half right here. So you have like 4.5 Sorakas just off these 4 minions. So I just drop the E to where the edge of it's here. And it comes around like this. So when he goes to run, he's still taking damage and it's hitting all the minions. Yeah, so you drop the wither, you E. You didn't try to auto then Q, dude. Your Q's an easy auto resetter. Yeah, just stay on him. Once Renekton is on cooldowns, especially his stun, as you can tell from his cooldowns, you can even see him here. They get lower per level. But the stun base cooldown's pretty high. It's like over 13 or more seconds. And then his dash is around 18 seconds. So your Q is way lower cooldown than his main trading tools. Unless he wants to just take Q trades with you. So try to trade back in with him when his stun's on cooldown. You should win those trades, especially when you have your Sheen and he doesn't have any kind of core item. Like all he has is long swords. Sheen's really good. I think Sheen's kind of OP. I've been building it a lot, and a lot of champions rushing it. As long as they can utilize that type of item. Once again, you should just, if you're trying to push, you should have E'd already. Because you could have hit the minions and him. Like, you don't really have to wither like this. Especially if you think his dash is up or about to be up, there's really no point. You could just dash away and drain your mana, and your wither costs a shite load of mana, 80 mana, compared to your Q's 20. So ideally what you would just do here is just finish dumping the wave. It's just like next time your E's up, you would E immediately, and then trade auto attack Q with him. And you don't need to wither. Like, you don't have mana to even all in him, so all you're going to do is auto attack Q reset, and that's going to be your trade. You'd only use your wither if it's life and death, generally. Or if you're full mana, but I mean, there's just no point. If they have a dash, it's like, what are you gonna do? He's just gonna dash away. Now you're out of mana. Wither's 4 Qs worth of mana. You go for the plant. I don't mind that. You still have your TP though. You don't really ever TP on Nasus until you're level 6. So at this point, you actually could go for a TP play since he has Ignite. Your bot lane's getting crapped on really hard though, so you might just want to stay in lane and get solo kills. His wave's going to slowly push out to you because he has slightly more minions. Plus, since his wave reinforces first, it's closer to his side. This is going to slow push to you. So even if he had, even if he could solo you right now, which he can't, you could just like wait, lose a few minions, and a huge wave will push to you, and you could catch it under your turret or whatever. So right now, if you don't think Amumu's here, you should be trading with him. Whenever he goes in to last hit your minion, you should be standing close enough to where he can't necessarily hit you, but to where when he goes in the last hit, you can hit him with an auto attack Q. There's just no reason to let him free farm unless you think Amumu's here. And you should be trying to get your wards more in the tri-brush than in this area, since you're on. Amumu's this side of the map. He's red side, right? So whenever he comes, he's most likely not going to come from river unless Scuttle's up. He's most likely going to come from where his raptors or his golems or his red buff are, which is through this area. So the tri-brush is a better word on this side. If you were a Renekton, then you'd want to get your wards where you're putting them, because that's where the enemy jungler would be coming from. So yeah, you see he's pushing the wave. Good patience. I mean, you could solo him right now. You have more items than him. And level 6 Power Spike Nasus beats like every melee champ in the game. So if you don't think Amumu's here, I'd just fight it, bro. And it turns out Amumu is here. This is where you drop your E and your Wither. You would just turn and have to fight this. If you were Phase Rush Nasus, you would have lived. Or if you were Ghost Nasus, you probably would have lived. Yeah, you're going to die. That's unfortunate. Just finish your Divine Sunder and then worry about getting your tier 2s. You TP back to lane. I don't mind that E drop that much because he's still high HP. Just make sure you're getting these minions unless you're going to all in him. This is the nice thing about taking Ghost on Nasus or having Unsealed Spellbook is you can obviously Ghost Nasus. You just stay up with him like a Darius would. You stay on top. Or Unsealed Spellbook, you could like grab an Exhaust or a Ghost. Fleet's just really bad. Fleet's super defensive, and really no respectable Nasus player will take it unless it's a super niche matchup. And generally, you could always just take secondary second wind on Nasus if you are against a Teemo, or just like a weird like anti-top lane. Second wind is the strongest early game defensive rune in the game. Keeps you alive forever. I would have just probably autoed it and then queued that one. You need to try to get all this CS, and ideally you want to freeze it in front of your turret to where it's not crashed. I would just all in him, bro. You have this much more HP and more items. Like, just take it. You see Amumu's down here. There's no reason to be playing this safe. When you have the item advantage, HP advantage, and you're on your level 6 power spike with a Sheen, just bonk him. This is the moment you've been waiting for this whole game. Like, now that he's got like 100 health, now you're gonna all in him. I mean, it's good. Good job killing him. But yeah, just hard shove the wave. Every time your E's up, you're gonna set your E right here in the middle of the wave to where the circle's hitting everything, and you do that immediately. You want to push it as fast as possible when your opponent's dead, so you can start grabbing some turret plates. Yeah. You R, but you don't use your E. That was kind of weird. That was a waste of your R, in my opinion. Your R would only be worth it if you're using it to take turret plates. But using it there, you're not even using your E. Your E is going to get it low. Like, you don't have to last hit every single minion with your Q when you're trying to push. You're only going to get like maybe half of them with your Q when you're pushing, if that. It's just more about getting the gold so you can hit your Divine Sunder power spike. You've crashed the wave. You can back now. You see Amumu's bot. If you had your R, you could solo this guy. Jesus, this is a long game. Holy crap, we're going to have to speed this up. You decide to stay. Okay, you decide to back. You backed at a bit of a weird time because he's pushing a wave into you. Definitely going to miss some minions here. Dude, just get the Divine Sunder, bro. You don't even need Bramble. Bramble isn't 100% necessary, and their team's super AP heavy to where, like, what is it really going to do? The only person who it's going to hurt is the Renekton, and if you want to, you could just grab an Executioner's. If they had an AD jungler, like a Zinzao, or who's another AD jungler? Like a Kha'Zix or a Rek'Sai or a Lee Sin, then Bramble makes more sense because it's going to help you survive both of them in ganks and stuff, 1 versus 2s. But here, it's just pointless. Just finish your Divine Sunder. You can already solo him. He's so far behind, and he's building lethality like a Dingleberry. Like, he really shouldn't be building lethality against a tanky Nasus top. He should probably just go Stridebreaker or whatever else Renekton builds. Renekton might even go Divine Sunder these days. I don't know. But I wouldn't be building Prowlers if I were him. There's really no one on your team where that would be that good against, because it doesn't have enough range to reach the Syndra, and it doesn't. It's not gonna be that good against you or Warwick or Leona. It's gonna be really underwhelming. Just make sure you land your Q on the cannon. That's the most important thing. Just make sure you get the cannons, dude. Back off. I would flash here to dodge his Q. If you Qs, if you turn, kill the squishiest person. And I tell you right now, even though Amumu's a lower level, Amumu's going to be tankier because he's got Aftershock and Red Smite. Killing Red Smite junglers is really hard because they take 20% less damage for like 3 seconds. So here, once again, if you had Phase Rush, if you had Ghost, if you had Unsealed Spellbook, you probably would have lived. I guess Nasus probably doesn't go Phase Rush anymore. It's probably pretty newbie to go Phase Rush on him. Yeah, there's just no reason of hitting the Amumu. The biggest tip here is don't focus the tankiest person. You'd focus the squishier one. Oh, you should also have tenacity. I didn't check your runes, but you know, let me check them real quick. I'll take a little sneak peek. It looks like, okay, you had tenacity and you went revitalize. You probably could have gotten away with overgrowth, to be honest, if you really wanted to, since this isn't a poke matchup. Against a poke matchup, you would have gone for second wind. The bone plating looks fine. Yeah, I really don't like the fleet. I mean, dude, if you have Conqueror with how your R stacks it and how fast you get your conk stats, like Divine Sunder or Rush Nasus with Conqueror could have literally won verse 2 that. Like, no joke, you would have won that. Anyways, let's keep going. Warwick's taking some minions. This game, like I said, I'd definitely go for Merc Treads. Merc Treads is the move on Nasus when they have a CC. Warwick gets the kill. Now, this is when you'd want to just shove the wave, use your E, auto and Qs, and then you'd use R and crack down the turret plates. But you're going to come help him, which is fine. You wither, immediately drop your E. The first thing you do is like R, R, E, wither, essentially. Just stay on him. Flash if you have to. Auto attack Q. Auto attack then Q. Q's an auto attack resetter and it also has more range than your normal auto attacks. You take the golems, that's fine. You're pretty healthy. I would, his wave's actually pushing to you. You could freeze it here if you wanted to, or you could look for a TP play. Only ever TP, not to save a teammate. Only ever TP if you know for a fact you're going to get a kill out of it. If you're not, it's absolutely not worth it. Like, if your TP is just going to scare them away and then that's it, that was a wasted TP. You reset, you TP back. Drop the wither, auto attack, Q reset. Follow him down. Okay, he gets away. He's got tier 2 boots. You have no boots. Yeah, dude, the Thornmail rush is so useless. Just rush Divine Sunder. Divine Sunder is Nasus's bread and butter. If you ever played Nasus jungle, or even like played him a bit top, the Thornmail is just so useless to rush. The whole point of Thornmail is the heal cut. The Bramble alone gives you that heal cut, or you could just go Executioners. Like, it's just so pointless. Like, this doesn't do anything. Plus, their team's like full AP other than Renekton, and Amumu's AP, so you're not even getting double value out of this. Like, the two people you're going to be fighting the most this game are opposite damage types, to where just go Divine Sunder, my guy. If you want a Thornmail rush, play Rammus top. Putting out your Divine Sunder, and Divine Sunder just got buffed. You really want to get that. Like, he would have been dead by now. And with the way your passive heals you, ooh, you're gonna miss that cannon. You're actually like tankier with Divine Sunder because you get that extra lifesteal healing through your passive. You're bonking down the turret. Listen, when you're under the turret, don't be greedy. Take the turret. Like, you don't want to swap your aggro to the minions. Stay on the turret, E the minions if you need to, but every time your Q's up, you need to Q the turret. That's very greedy. There's no, like, especially, dude, this game is going so far south. Like, you don't have a mid turret or a bot turret. If you stay up here for the next 20 minutes, you're going to lose this game. You need to get this turret, and then you can group in a team fight and get, like, a quadra kill or something. But, like, you're overstaying in lane, basically. Good Nasus players aren't afraid to group, even if they have 300 stacks, as long as they don't put themselves behind. When a Nasus groups, it can actually have a lot of value if the enemies overextend for the fight. If you're really low on health, you just have to leave. You could get dove. If you're ever, like, as a top laner, if you're ever below half health ever, even at level 3, you can get dove. Like, this is really low. He could just dive you by himself. Back to full, you lose turret, he still has his. You're just missing so much damage, my guy. And Divine Sunder gives you extra ability haste, which helps you out with your Qs. This game, other than for some reason starting Doran's Ring and going Fleet, which in my opinion is a huge mistake, and you didn't have Ghost, you went Flash instead of Ghost. Like, Ghost, dude, it gives you resets. So whenever you get a kill or assist, it extends its duration dramatically. So, like, it's like a Master Yi R, basically. It just keeps you fast forever if you get a kill or assist during its 7 seconds or whatever, how long it is. It's like 7 or 8 seconds. But that alone, if you change the runes, change the summoner spells, I think you would have won this game. all that on its own, not including the fact that at times you were randomly not pushing when you were pushing. Sometimes you just don't use your E even when you're trying to push. So basically, like, they should have taken Dragon for free here because you're still top, right? They should take Dragon here, and then they could, like, take your outer bot or something, or take Dragon Herald and start to pressure this game. When you die on Nasus, or you lose heavy lane prio to the point, like, they can just start taking every Herald and Dragon, they'll end the game on you. Nasus, the worst thing is if they're getting Heralds, honestly. It'll just wrap the game up, and it forces you to move to places you don't necessarily want to move to. I would fight him, dude. Just, like, hit him with an auto attack Q. Just when you're fight, you don't have to fight someone to the death. If you know they're gonna run, that's fine. But hit him with an auto Q. It doesn't cost much mana. And then once he blows his load, he backs up, and then he'll come back in before his abilities are up. Then you can drop the Wither and beat him up. Like, but if you had Ghost here, you could have all in him for sure. Like here, if you had Ghost and Divine Sunderer, Ghost lets you, first of all, you should have your boots by now. You should have Divine Sunderer, and you should have tier 2 boots. It shouldn't be Sheen into Thornmail. Or Sheen into Frozen Heart, or whatever the heck you're building. You can go Divine into Frozen Heart, that's fine. That's a solid build, but not this. But yeah, if you had Divine Sunderer tier 2 boots, which is the same amount in gold, plus Ghost, you would have ran through your minions super fast. Ghost lets you go through any units, so no minion block, and you would have literally killed this guy. Because his dash is on cooldown, his stun's on cooldown. Like, you're holding yourself back with your setup, but once you change it, you could probably do a lot of good. Find the Moo out on his own. You're like, but wait, I'm Fleet Nasus. You dodged the snare, that was pretty good. Auto attack Q reset, very cool. I like the mechanic. Make sure you got, ooh, this is bad. You just need to get out. You need to sacrifice him. Ooh, actually, I didn't see the Zed. Never mind. But it still didn't turn out. Because, I mean, you have Thornmail, and they have 4 AP champs on their team. Their only AD is the Renekton. You're actually not that tanky. Nasus's tankiness typically comes from hitting his triumphants in team fights, and his life's still on his passive. He's not really tanky through building tank items. He's tanky through killing, which is why you go for the Divine Rush, you go for the bot lane TP. I'm fine with that. Once again, if you had Ghost, you could have just team fight here. You could have gotten kill and then TP'd bot. Having Flash on Nasus by itself usually isn't that great. It's very safe non-carry. Like in solo queue, especially at this elo, Ghost is way better. You can still probably kill him. Yeah, you die. At this point, I would just say it's build, man. The Thornmail with Sheen alone, you're not going to be able to kill anything. The Divine gives you a bunch of ability haste and a bunch of useful stats. You get a pick. And you don't have any magic resist. And then you die. Merc Treads, my guy. Merc Treads. Yeah, you really don't. There's really no champ. There's only a couple of exceptions. But even then, like in League of Legends, the latest you get your tier 1 boots is after your first full item. Like the latest you get them ever. The latest you get your tier 2 boots is generally after your first full item as well. I mean, you'll even see a lot of people on your team. Like Warwick has full tier 2s, Syndra has tier 2s, Leona has tier 2s. Like everyone in this game has tier 2 boots, which means by default they're way faster than you are, which is hard because you have no dashes in your kit. You don't even have Ghost. They can just outwalk you. You really need tier 2 boots, my man. We'll try to speed up through this. Honestly, the build alone is making this very hard for you to succeed. Even though you are doing some things right, it's just making things way harder than they need to be. Once you're level 6 Divine Sunderer, there's no melee champ in the game that can solo you. Not even Jax, not even Tryndamere. Finally got Divine Sunderer. We still don't have tier 2 boots. You're only moving at a 350. Everyone in the game's faster than you by a fair margin. You're going for the split push. I don't mind split pushing. The enemies are overextending. Split pushing is dangerous when the enemies are 5-man grouped. Like if the enemies are 5-man grouped, they would just end the game on you there. But like I said, we're going to try to speed up. stay with the wave. If your teammates are getting kills, you don't back, you just stay with the wave, and you need to be using your E's. Like I said, the goal isn't to kill every single minion in the wave with your Q. The goal is to push the wave and get key minions with your Q. Like, you're gonna get the cannon with your Q. Every time your Q's up, you're gonna kill something with it. Other than that, you're killing everything else with your E and your autos here, because you're trying to get to the turret to break the turret. The R, I like the R use, and then you back off. Yep, your R's on cooldown. Speed up. Take the waves, keep pushing. And then you back off, that's fine. You have your R, you can look for a camp to heal. It's the whole point of your passive. Enemies are coming up, so you're backing off, looks fine. I don't know why you're randomly going into their jungle. You were just in the area, like this was really dangerous. They could have all just pushed up to try to find you. Warwick's randomly starting Baron, no one knows why. The enemies are taking a fight mid. I'm not a huge fan of this Baron. If the enemies don't come for it, you'll get it, but it's just bad timing, in my opinion, since Zed just got picked. I guess you guys killed... I guess the reason why you did it is you guys got 2 kills somewhere. And then the enemies over pushed, Ari died, and then Zed got a double. But you guys don't have an AD carry, and a Mumu's still alive, so this is pretty risky as is, because it's like a 4v3. And a Mumu has a 50-50 of stilling. So, not too crazy about this. You go for it anyways. If you don't like a play, you can always ping someone off and then leave. Like this, imagine if a Mumu stole this. That would be so bad. Alright, we get the Baron. At this point, I would just go grab wave shove. Like, if Dragon's coming up, I don't think you guys could even fight for this, to be honest. They have hourglasses. It's going to be really hard for Zed to kill anyone. You finally have tier 2 boots. You didn't go for Merc Chest for some reason. Though, if you're going to go Lucidities on Nasus, you're generally doing it for like the early mid game. You're in the late game now, dude. Best boots in the game, period. Late game, any champ is Merc Treads, period. Like, I mean, some, if they're ahead, or if the enemies don't have that much CC, they won't have Merc Treads, but the tenacity is a really good stat, especially when they have this much CC that it works against. To where you got your tier 2 boots so late in this game that Merc Treads would have just been way better. You should have never backed though. Like, even if you wanted to get items, since Dragon was coming up, you literally should have just went and taken top turret. They get 1 Dragon, you get a top turret. It's a better trade for you. We're pushing. You get the turret, nice. You have your R. I would probably stay. I guess you could back. It's gonna be really tough. When Morgana hits you with the snare, it's gonna last for 2 seconds. It's a 3-second snare at this point. Where the heck are you? There you are. You get the wither down on a Mumu. You generally want to put it, yeah, on whoever you think you can kill. Like, getting it on Renekton here was fine too, since a Mumu had overcommitted. You could probably kill him without the wither. Wither the Mumu, you get the kill. Shove the wave. I would probably go back to splitting top lane. The Ari just runs it down here. You hit her with the Q, she R's away. Stay with the wave until people show up. Yeah, now you leave. You leave immediately when you see the Morgana. You should have left 4 seconds ago. Now you die because you were greedy. You didn't have a game plan. You were just going to stay until they killed you. Now they're going to shove. They're going to dance. They're going to run it down a little bit. Like, honestly, their team comp's really bad. If you guys were just full magic resist, they can't do anything. Focus Renekton. You guys build full magic resist and they literally can't kill anyone. Get the wither down. Once again, if you had ghost, this is a triple. Really suggest you to try out ghost on Nasus. I'd run it down, flash wither, flash wither, flash wither. Don't be stingy with your flash. If it's a kill, it's worth. If you're getting a kill with your flash and you're not dying, it's always worth. Should have been a kill there. You take the fight. You have no ghost, you have no conqueror. Get the kill anyways because you're Nasus. 500 stacks is okay, it's not ideal. As long as we're not letting ourselves die and we're constantly alive, constantly keeping our HP up, not wasting mana on weird trades using wither when we don't need to. Like, we should have honestly around 800 pretty consistently at this point of the game, especially since you weren't, like, you didn't get ganked that much. You only got ganked twice, and it wasn't really early game. Like, getting ganked early game is what sets Nasus behind, because he can't get his Sheen, he can't get his Divine Sunderer. If you don't have Divine Sunderer, if you hit, basically, if you're level 6 and they're full item, you can't do anything. So, yeah. But if you hit level 6, even if neither of you full item, you still win. Especially if you have Sheen. Go for the R, you just start bonking. Bonk every time it's up, get your E down. Fight them inside of your E for the armor shred. Moon's pretty tanky. He's got the Thorn Mail, so he's heal cutting you pretty hard. You guys just lose here, dude. This does not look good. Zed falls off really hard if there's hourglasses. Once everyone has hourglasses, Zed can't do anything. Can't do a whole lot. Yep, I like this play. You get in behind the R, you get down the Wither. You're very slow. You don't have Unsealed Spellbook, and you don't have Ghost. So in these long chases, it's generally not going to work if they have mobility, whether it's LeBlanc, Talon, Ahri. You pop the R, you grab the kill. You still shouldn't be able to catch up to her unless she keeps turning around to throw spells. She's moving 404. You're moving 415, so you'll eventually catch up. Technically, if she's not landing charms, her charms slow you down. So if she only throws out charms and then runs, she'll get away. Renekton's here. You don't have your R, you don't have Conqueror. Can't stress that enough. I would pull back now. Ooh, you actually get the kill with the Zed. I would pull back. You don't have Merc Treads. You really needed them this game. Get the flank on Morgana. She's being really greedy. Really, all you can do at this point in the game, I guess your main questions would be, should I team fight or should I split push? You're going to want to split push as much as possible unless your team needs you, is the answer. So if unless the enemies are a 5-man group pushing down your mid turrets, then you don't really want to group. Go for the Baron. Let's see if you pop your R. You don't pop R. You might as well if you're going to take Baron. I mean, if they catch you on Baron, or if you thought they're all going to be there, I think there's several of them are dead though. Morgana was dead, but even if you thought it was going to be a 3 versus 4, if they catch you in Baron Pit, you guys are going to lose anyways. So I would probably just use my R here. See, Ari's mid, you back. Finally stacking that good magic resist. You're getting really, really tanky now. You're up really far on your own. If you ever see yourself up on the, if you ever see like you're the, it's like whack-a-mole. If you're the one peg sticking out on the map, like look at the mini map, who's the farthest person pushed up on your team. If it's ever you, you're probably the next person to die. And you see you're the farthest one stuck up by far. Everyone else is way closer. It's based on where your inhibit, I mean, based on where your nexus is, obviously. And you're really far up, so like you should have backed off at this point. You should be moving away. You're just being greedy. And then Mumu catches you. You don't have Ghost or Unsealed Spellbook, so obviously, or Conquer. If you have Conquer, you probably win this 1 versus 2. And yeah, I think they just end here. Like if you're dead, there's no reason they should be able to fight back. You going for the Heimer, I like it. He's gonna stun you though. Get the Wither, you E. I'd pop R probably and just wipe him. Decided you don't need it. R's a really low cooldown. It's like only a minute long at this point. Pretty short. Go for the dragons, not even soul. If it's not dragon soul, it doesn't really matter. Never go for a dragon to give up an inhib. It's not worth unless it's elder or soul. I don't know what you're doing here. This is pointless. You're taking a really weird position because they have minions pushing in behind you. If they have a super minion wave behind you, like your teammates are still having to catch this. You're not giving your team any map pressure. They're going to be like in their base, so you need to start from like closer and push out. Your teammates are going to get left stranded here. You don't have Merc Treads, you don't have Ghosts. Like honestly, without some kind of added mobility, you're never going to be able to get to people. You're just not Way too much CC for you to be running Ionian boots. And that's probably game. That's about what you can expect though if you're running Fleet on Nasus. Fleet Nasus, no Ghost. Like you can't get to anybody. Fleet is literally only good for pretty much early game on melee champs. Whether it's a Yone, Yasuo, or Nasus, it's really only good for the first 10-15 minutes of the game, if that. And then it just doesn't really give any value because you have a bunch of built-in healing in your kit anyways. And it barely gives any speed up to where Ghost or Unsealed Spellbook is just way more useful. Anyways, man, I would say the biggest thing, I'll just give you a few things. Stop running Fleet on Nasus. Take Unsealed, Conqueror, or Grasp. Those three. Grasp is okay versus like strictly melee champs. Don't take it if they have any kind of ranged attack. Generally, you want Unsealed or Conqueror. Probably don't even bother running Conqueror if it's a really hard ranged matchup. Then just go Unsealed Spellbook. Don't rush random items. Always go Divine Sunder rush at this point. Divine Sunder into tier 2 boots is what you want to do. Don't start Doran's Ring. Start D-Shield or 3 regen beads with a potion if it's a ranged matchup. D-Shield's fine versus a melee. I mean, if it's a really hard melee matchup, if that poke like GP, I mean, 3 regen beads is still fine. But if it's a ranged matchup, you should also be going second one instead of bone plating. I would try Ghost instead of Flash. I would even try Flash Ghost with Conqueror to hyper carry. And other than that, your other biggest mistake is not always Q, auto attack then Q, and then when you're pushing waves, a lot of time you don't even use your E because you're trying to last hit every minion with your Q. You're not going to be doing that. You're only going to take the minions you can when your Q's up every time it's up. Other than that, you're going to be killing everything else with your E's and your autos. Other than that, it was solid, man. You could definitely get to gold before the season ends. Anyways, take it easy, dude. It's just a game, and good luck.